Hello. Not my favorite lighting. Let's see if I can fix it. It's cursed. I feel like I'm slowly decaying. It looked better, but my lighting itself was bad. I'll just bail on it, whatever. No. Alright, this is fun. This is fun. What's up? How are you guys? You like the bald look? I'm glad. Thank you, Nathan. It's been a minute. Thank you, Giselle, for the 6 months. Good morning. Good morning, y'all. How are we feeling? Hoping for some good feeds today. I'd like it. How was Trap and Deadpool? Well, let me just tell you. I thought Deadpool was bad. Am I a hater? I'm not even like a Marvel hater like that. I thought it was pretty bad. There were some fun moments. Thank you, Wildling, for the tier 1. I appreciate you. Flop Bina just throwing her game away. I wouldn't call her Flop Bina yet, but it's definitely been a downward trend. What I love about the Deadpool Wolverine stuff is like you're allowed to make fun of anyone who likes Deadpool and Wolverine, even though like I've liked a lot of Deadpool, but it's just very easy to make fun of. Fun movie, but not a good movie. It was fine. It was too long. Trap I liked. It was very goofy, but I don't mind goofy, stupid movies. Rabina and Leah are currently making Quinn into a creep and saying they're uncomfortable with him sleeping in their room. Well, look, I think if they feel creeped out, that's their prerogative, you know what I mean? I don't think they're making him out to be creepy. I don't think he's being outwardly creepy, but, you know. I'm just trying to be fair. Like, from what I've seen, the discussions they've been having is like, why is Quinn coming into the girls' room? It's like he's trying to spy on us. You know what I mean? That's what I've been. That's what I've seen. And basically, the past couple days in the feeds has made me very anti-Tucker, anti-Leah. Kind of that's my hit list right now: Tucker and Leah. I'm listening. I think we need to be more honest about how Quinn is playing. Yeah, he's not playing well, but look, my player rankings, he's still not that low. Like, he still has more options than just about anyone. Do you have the Roundtable survey link? No, I don't think it's posted yet. American Cory. They're talking about Boogie not using the coup d'etat. That's crazy. We are still together. Don't Leah and Quinn have a final too? I think Cam is the right vote. I think Cam's the right vote, 100%. The background will look better once I turn the lights on in their room. America's napping.
You can turn it off, babe.
It's alright. Leah hates him now. It's like there's a divide in the house of like how people reacted to Tucker's bullshit, and it feels like Rabina and Leah and Mackenzie fell on Tucker's side, and everyone else fell on Quinn's side. I guess Angela's with Tucker too. But like even Kenny was like, Tucker, what the fuck? For anyone who saw Twisters, how was it? I've been eyeing it. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. Fun, easy movie to watch. If I missed your power rankings for this week, no, that'll be in my second stream today. We're doing 2 streams. One earlier in the day, then we're going to take a break in the middle of the day, and then later tonight. First one, we're going to be doing the, the whatever. The Roundtable forum, and then the second part of the stream, we'll do the ranking. Thanks, Ari. Late to your sub. You're forgiven. But don't do it again. Got it? Oh, by the way, to anyone who's interested. Wahoo! This will be fun. America was on last week. Had a really good time, so. I'll be going live after this later tonight. 3 streams in total. No, I'll just do this and then stream afterwards. It'll be late night stream. I don't want to vote Joseph, but I feel like it's the only other option to Quinn. I don't think that's true. Podcast today? Yeah, we're doing the podcast today. We're also going to do the... so here's some ideas we have for the Patreon. So number 1, we're going to do... We talked about like every week doing a Big Brother show. Talking about the season. It's going to be me, America, and a guest every week. We'll be yapping. We already have a plan on who our first guest will be, but that'll be recorded over the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, and posted Saturday or Sunday. We are going to be doing an America versus Cory kind of series. Very competitive people compete against each other in a series of things. Some of them will be like Survivor puzzles, Big Brother challenges, stuff like that. Also just games and different things. And then the idea we were kind of flirting around were 2. We could either do the Genius, like watch along, watching the Genius, or Big Brother 7. Because America hasn't really seen it. So those are kind of our theories. BB Can 10's another option, yeah. She hasn't seen BB7. Like, she knows about it, and she saw it, like... I don't think she ever really watched it, though. Hope the UK version of the Genius will be good. I don't have much faith. I think what makes the GDS such an amazing show is it's edited in such an interesting way, and I feel like it's never going to be possible to do that. I did not like the Devil's Plan as much. I thought it was fun, but the team nature of it made it less enjoyable for me. If Quinn doesn't win AI Arena, he's cooked, I fear. I don't think so at all. I think he's safe, basically, no matter what. I think against Kenny, he'd be safe, and against Tucker, he'd definitely be safe. I think the only fear is if things like switch from now to then, but as things stand, I think he's okay. Rabina and Leah don't like him, though. I think Rabina, I don't know. I have faith Rabina will go back to the people. It'd be a close vote between Quinn and Tucker. I mean, Tucker would have what? MJ, theoretically Leah, Kenny. I guess y'all are saying Rabina, theoretically. Cam. You guys think he would have Cam? Angela, of course. That's 4. He needs 6. So even assuming he has Rabina, Leah, Angela, Kenny. That's 4. Chemo? No way is Chemo. I don't see how he gets to 5 votes, let alone 6. I mean, look, I don't think Chemo and T Cory are going to vote separately. I just don't buy it. I don't see it. Yeah, I said MJ, Leah, Rabina, Angela, Kenny. All right, so he's at 5. He's at a solid 5, we think. It's a little dicey, for sure. But look, here's the thing about Leah. I don't... Like, Leah is speaking so defiantly anti-Quinn right now. She might do the same thing about Tucker in 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
No, she loves Tucker.
I feel like Leah...
She's got a big fat crush on him. She won't do that.
So you're saying this conversation between Tucker, Leah, and Rabina, they both have crushes on him, and that's what's...
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I came off like this.
It's okay. They can't see you. Kenny was told by production. So that stuff is so funny to me. They told Kenny to stop saying he wants to quit, and his punishment would be removal from the game. Seems like a great gig for Kenny.
Well, he doesn't get the stipend.
He doesn't get the $3,000 stipend?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, you know, it's money.
It's... I imagine it's really the 3K keeping him there? Maybe. Alright, T-Core is playing some bumper pool. There goes the strategic conversations, which is good, because I don't want to listen to Tucker, Rabina, and Leah. Leah's been very frustrating to watch, because I feel like she's so actively working against her best interests. And I know she doesn't think she's doing that, but it's just frustrating to watch. It reminds me of Blue a lot, where Blue would actively be cutting off all her allies in favor of people who, like, hated her. Leah's one of the worst casting ever. I don't think that's true. Yeah, y'all have very short-term memories. He gets a pension if he is retired. We don't know exactly his department's situation. Like, obviously he gets a pension, but we don't know if it's like an amazing pension. Most of them are pretty good. I hated Blue, but she was better than Leah. She played the game, albeit badly. I just think, like, everyone hates the person from the current season more than the past season. You know? And I get what you're saying. Like, Blue is a very active bad player, where Leah is more passive, but Leah has a lot of game talks. Those game talks are really not substantive, but she's talking a lot. DEA is a federal pension. Okay. Rabina reminded me of Blue, sticking to Tucker even when he's shown a lot of red flags. I don't know. I think Tucker and Jared, I see some similarities, but the Rabina Blue part of it, like, I don't see it. I hope Quinn stays and puts Leah up. I think he put up Mackenzie. A lot of my trouble with the power rankings, because they were actually kind of easy to do this week. I kind of breezed through them. My like biggest question mark was Mackenzie versus Leah. I found it very difficult to rank one over the other. Because it feels like one of them's a better player, but the other one's in a safer position. It's like, I don't know. No, I think MJ's the better player for sure, but I don't think Leah's going to be on the block next week. But, I mean, as a replacement nom, she's very likely to be on the block. So, Mackenzie for comp edge, that's fair. I don't know. I thought that was an interesting conversation. You'll see where I landed on it. Quit doing that ugly background. I need to have it up now. I'll take it down later. Leah called Mackenzie a pick-me. Yeah, I saw that yesterday. That's lame. You don't like to see that. Also, like, look, I don't think it's cool to call anyone a pick-me. Mackenzie's not a pick-me. I haven't seen any of that in the house. Like, Mackenzie was a please don't pick me to Matt. Like, who does Mackenzie want to pick her? Like, calls coming from inside the house. I just think it's like, y'all, focus on the real threat, the men. Like, I think if there was an all-girls alliance, I think the person who would spoil it, my guess would be Chelsea. But I think Leah would be another person who would be a threat. Again, I don't think that's a bad thing for Chelsea. I think Chelsea being in an all-girls alliance would like hurt her position, or making it her real alliance would hurt her position. America called you a pick-me in hammock convo. I think I called myself a pick-me when I said I'd volunteer for have-nots with America. I think Brooklyn's the biggest threat in the game. Brooklyn is starting to give me T-Core vibes, where it's like, I really have a lot of faith in her as a player. I love her positioning, but does she have that dog in her? We know Tucker has that dog in him. He doesn't have anything else.
Did you see her go at Kenny last night?
Yes.
Okay.
Her going at Kenny was funny. The dog should come out later. Yeah, I see it. I don't think it's like, I think a lot of people were hoping that would happen with Mimi, but there's like less signs that Mimi would do that. Brooklyn seems to be showing the signs, but she just hasn't had to do anything super super actively. My big worry is she a little bit too loyal to the Pentagon? You know, because I think she has a lot of assets outside of the Pentagon. I kind of thought Kenny might have been one of them that seems to be gone, but like, I feel like she's got a really good thing with Rabina. She seems even like better with Tucker than a lot of these people these days. Tucker is absolutely Jared. Tucker is absolutely Jared. I think there's some things Jared did that Tucker didn't do, but in terms of like the play style, absolutely. And let's be clear, Tucker is worse than Jared as well as a player. Jared is terrible, but Tucker's worse. Jared would use the veto on himself. Tucker is Jared without his mom. That's possible. Do you think it's smart for Quinn to tell Joseph about the Pentagon? Joseph, or rather Quinn, is a madman. How out of pocket is that? To expose the Pentagon yesterday. That dude is a yapper. Like I was a bit of a yapper. I was not yapping to Quinn's degree. It is unbelievable. Who would Joseph put up? I think Joseph is pretty with the collective right now. I think he'd put up like Kenny, Angela, Tucker. I don't know if he'd put up Tucker, but maybe like Leah, MJ, Angela, something like that. All the girls. You guys would love it. I think Tucker's a competent player, just erratic. I am very steadfast in the opinion he is the opposite of a competent player. I think the word is incompetent. I think he's one of the worst players of all time, which is crazy because he seems like a pretty likable dude and he could win comps. But he's like he's competent but erratic. He might be the most erratic player in Big Brother history. The reason Quinn seems complacent is because he knows he's HOH next week. You know? Like, it's weird. Like, I feel like for the first half of the game, I didn't have my back against the wall, but I was never in, like, a super secure position, so I was always playing actively. It was only until the back half where I started getting complacent because you feel like you have some security short term. Quinn's felt like he had security the whole game. I think once he loses that power, he's going to be, like, a lot more, intentional. But this might just be him. He could still be evicted, though. Yeah, but, I think he's braced himself for the possibility he might be nominated, but, he's probably thinking, like, what are the odds? Like, Decor and Chelsea are mad they weren't told about the meeting last night. They'll get over it. Nah, I don't think that's the huge deal. Quinn is letting down the chorus horrors? No. You gotta be a little bit messy if you're a chorus horrors person. Justin BB9 is pretty shit. People keep bringing up people from Big Brother 9, and I'm like, y'all, you really want me to relitigate Big Brother 9? Like, that's what we want to spend our time doing? Like, sure, I'll give you Justin. But, yeah, like, sure, I'll give that to you. And, like, is he better than, like, Aaron Grease? Like, sure, Aaron Grease would never win a season. Like, but I feel like the problem is with, not even his name. Jacob, that's the one. That's the one. Dan was set to be on BB9. He was going to be on BB6 originally, which would have been, honestly, like a waste of Dan's potential. Oh, MJ's doing the Cory. Go to the game room immediately, get a blanket, put on your glasses. I like that. Just lacks strategic awareness. I think that's what makes him such a bad player. Giesling is like, he has all the tools, and yet, despite that, he's still terrible. Trap or Twisters? I had more fun watching Trap. I think Twisters is a better movie. Dan has 2.8K watching him play Elden Ring. That dude's a streamer first, reality TV contestant second. He's been grinding for close to like 10 years. It's unbelievable. So cool. What do you think about how Cedric's played it all? I've been a little bit perplexed about how people are talking about Cedric. I think he's playing it fine. Like, no matter what he did, he was going to have an enemy. Like, Tucker was so defiant in this plan. If he didn't do the plan at all, Tucker would be against him no matter what, no matter how he played it. And if he did do the plan, he'd have Quinn as an enemy, who's probably the next HOH. Ultimately, I would side with the person who has the next HOH and isn't currently on the block. I'm really high on Cedric. I think Cedric's doing really well. Rabina T-Core. I'm going to turn the lights on, American. Is the bulb out? Rune Queen, thanks for the 5 gifted. How are you doing this morning? This is better now, right? Thank you, Rune. How are you doing? I appreciate you. My friend sent me this What's Going On. So much Infinite Tarth. Sup, Lan? T-Core and Rabina. T-Core's had a quiet week, which I don't hate. I wish they'd formed this fucking group already. Well, now they can't because Tucker is in it. They gotta maybe swap out Tucker for Joseph. I think makes the most sense. Chemo, T-Core, Quinn, Joseph, someone else. Is Tucker worse than Nick Uhas? Yes, he is. Guys, we seem to forget he didn't use the veto on himself. I feel like this is being swept under the rug. Like, Marcellus not doing this is talked about to this day. He did it again. That's insane. I feel like it's not being talked about as much as it should be. Visionaries want to bring in Chelsea. I think that's a really bad idea. I think Chelsea is not a good option. I think it should be the Visionaries plus Quinn, maybe, or the Visionaries. He's in the Visionaries. Maybe Rabina and Joseph, but Rabina is kind of out there. Maybe Joseph and someone else. Maybe just Joseph. Like, there's a lot of options that are kind of out the window now that Tucker blew things up. I think Brooklyn's a better option than Chelsea. Because Brooklyn and Chelsea, you're basically just giving Brooklyn and Chelsea the dream position. They're in the Pentagon and the Visionaries. If he wins AI Arena, how bad is it? If Tucker wins, Mike, that would not be good. Well, that's kind of the point, using of like Marcellus' veto, like everyone else after that looks towards Marcellus. Obviously, you have to use the veto on yourself. You're going to be voted out. Tucker has no excuse. The veto's been in play for 20 years. Is it possible for Tucker to make it to jury? 100%. He might just win the AI Arena twice and win an HOH or a veto, and he's there. Like I would say it's like a 30%, 40% chance he makes jury. Like, how will it be remembered if he wins the AI Arena? It won't be remembered nearly as badly. Like, it was in Survivor Micronesia, didn't Amanda give up her immunity or something? And it was fine. Like, you know, I would hate him as a juror. He'd be annoying. Quinn wins Arena. They have to send Tucker packing. Yes, I think that will happen. I think Tucker versus Kenny. I think Tucker would go. Jenna giving it to Heidi. That's right. What final two should Quinn be the most loyal, honest to now? I think Joseph, probably. I think Joseph seems to be the answer in my head. He needs to make sure Chemo's locked in. Him and Joseph have the most natural connection. Rabina and T. Cory, yeah, I gotta lock in for a second. What's this group they're trying to put together? Chelsea and Rabina want to keep Tucker. I don't know why Chelsea does. Kenny's against the women. Is Tucker for the women? Maybe not as outwardly against. Chelsea sus of Cam and Cedric. Chelsea needs to get off that wave. It's so bad for her. Like, the 3 Cs is so important to Chelsea's game. She needs to lock it in. It's very interesting, because, like, look, if they're able to flip this thing on Quinn, right? The problem is they have really not that much time to organize as a result of the way AI Arena works and the way this nomination works. But like they could have like a pretty close majority. Like if Rabina flips anyone, then all of a sudden it's not like they're picking the wrong side. They're picking a perfectly viable side. That side would suck though. I would hate it. Cam being so close to Leah can ruin it. I get that, and I think that's smart for Cedric and Chelsea. But like, honestly, here's I think an underrated strategy for this kind of thing. So obviously, Suri, Izzy, and Jared were very suspicious about my relationship with America. What they should do in that situation, I think, is just get rid of America. Because if they got rid of America week 3 or 4, I would have been pissed, but I wouldn't have had anywhere to go, and I would have stuck with the Crossroads for the time being. You know what I mean? Like, if they really think Leah's the problem, just get rid of Leah. Cam's not gonna... Cam will try to defend it, but he's gonna ultimately buckle, and it'll be fine. But then no Patreon money? That's not their problem. I think if you let it get too far, it's a problem. Like, if you're trying to cut America week 6, then all of a sudden, that's too late. But by week 3, I'm not willing to sink my game, I was obviously fighting for America. I was one of the main reasons she didn't go up that week. But, like, if they did pull the trigger on America, there's nothing I could have done. She would have gone home, and, that would have been a problem solved. Leah doesn't seem interested in Cam. Leah is just super self-destructive. Like, everyone she should work with, she's shit-talking, and everyone she's shit-talking, she should work with. Like, everyone she shouldn't work with, she is, like, down with. Kenny plans to throw the AI Arena, so it'd be him going this week. I mean, I think him against Tucker would be interesting. I think him against Quinn, like, you'd think Quinn would be safe. But if ultimately the counter forces are against Quinn, maybe it's the same. Who's the person to vote for if you don't want Quinn up? I mean, everyone's saying Joseph is the one who has the most momentum behind him, but I like Joseph. Like, I get the idea of vote the person who might actually have enough votes to go up instead of Quinn, but I'm not voting for Joseph. I'm voting for Cam. That's my vote right now. But I think a lot of it hinges on the edit. The edit's going to dictate where the vote goes. So we'll see. Taking Tucker out's a big move, so they won't do that. Like, I think y'all are being a little bit too harsh on this cast in terms of, like, the big move stuff. Like, oh, they're all such cowards. They're such followers. It's like, y'all, they have volunteers every week for the block. Like, what do you want them to do? This is not like a season 16 situation where, like, they're all being puppeteered by Derek and they're all this 10-person majority. It's like, they're HOHs, and then there's these twists that make it so you have to play safer. They sent Matt home week 1. Yeah, like... I think this cast is fine when it comes to big moves. Quinn wouldn't be fun feeds. I don't see how Quinn being fun feeds would be a thing. I think Cam will get more votes, yeah. It's very difficult to make big moves. The AI Arena kind of crushes big moves. Which again, I don't think this twist is a disaster. It makes for fun live shows. It's okay. It's consistent at least, so you could like play around it. This plus Deepfake HOH plus America's Veto makes it a little bit much. But I don't love the twist. They think it's ending week 4, right? It's not the same boring backdoor strategies. I don't think backdoors are that bad, frankly. I'm kind of pro backdoors. I think like you could just do 3 nominees and take out the AI arena, and that itself will hurt backdoors quite a bit because it's harder to get 3 pawns. It's coming from someone who got backdoored. Yeah, I mean people are finicky about like what they consider a backdoor because I got to play in the veto, but I would say it's a backdoor. Yeah, I just don't see Cam and T Core voting out Quinn. I don't see it. I think Cam's going to be locked in with the 3Cs and the Pentagon, the Collective, and T Core is going to be with the Collective and Chemo, and I just don't see it. I think ultimately, like as you get closer to Thursday, everyone gets more fixated on what happens next week, and knowing Quinn's HOH is going to be such a like security blanket for so many players. I think it'll really help him. Why am I out of focus? Quinn's expecting it, so it won't be the reaction they're wanting. Yeah, it was very frustrating. Like I tweeted something to the effect of like, I think being voted as the least favorite house guest is going to be such a like psychological kind of like sting to whoever gets voted. And everyone's like, you're just saying this because of Quinn. It's like, no, it would be the same thing for everybody. It might hit Quinn harder, but like people just ascribe to me what they think. It's very, very frustrating. And also, people were arguing like, well, it's not like we're voting on the least favorite house guest. We're actually just voting on who we want to be named as the replacement nominee. It's like, well, that's not how I'd interpret it in the house. Like, I think the Big Brother fan base does not have like an organized strategic hub where they can make these decisions to optimize the best TV. Like, they just vote on who they like the least. If you're there to win, why would you care? I feel like the way you're talking, Giesling, you're kind of acting like we're not human beings who have lives after Big Brother. That might sound harsh, but like, of course you would care about people not liking you. Like, it's brutal out here. Like, you definitely care. No, don't like dogpile them, but I get what you're saying, Game Girl. I'm just saying like the experience. Yeah, but do I care more about being 750K or being a fan fave? Yeah, but like, look, okay, Giesling, if Quinn was nominated with the guarantee that he'd win 750K, I think he'd be down. But currently, you're just nominated on the block, and you know America hates you. Like, you have to understand, like, everyone's trying to win the game. Everyone, even the people who just want to be influencers, they still want to win. But there's a real like it's really bad to know that the public doesn't like you. That has like almost more of a real effect. Like Jag is a Big Brother winner. He has 750K. I think Jag might trade that 750K to be beloved. And that's not based on anything Jag has told me, but like, yeah. At the end of the day, like money is huge. It's a life-changing amount of money. That should be your main priority. I'd rather win 750K and be disliked than not. Like I get that, but it's not that simple. It's also, yeah, the 750K is also like very far in the distance. Very far in the distance at this point in the game. At the final 5, you could be like, well, it starts to feel real. You start to really push. Would you do Big Brother again if you could? Of course. It was so much fun, and like all the downsides are outweighed by all the billion upsides. There's certainly a question of am I already blacklisted because how openly I talk about the show? That's its own question. But yeah, it was so fun. It was a good time. If Jag had to pick between the money and a Taylor Hale level of reception, he'd be conflicted. I mean, Taylor's the only example of a winner who, like, was beloved, fan favorite the entire time. Like some people got neutral reactions. Like Casey was pretty neutral. I think Cody was neutral-ish. Like, no one hated Cody. X was pretty neutral. Like, it's really rare for a fan favorite to win. Rachel Riley did it. I mean, is that it? Like, what other examples are there? Dan, I mean, I wasn't really around. Big Brother 10. I was watching, but I was, you know, it wasn't like social media was like it is today. Plenty of people hated Cody. Yeah, I always thought that hate was a little bit misguided. Just a normal white dude. Will for sure was a fan favorite. Yeah, but again, like where the MySpace board's going crazy, like maybe. I don't think Jack's hated like that. I think people hate like what Jack did to the season, which again, it's not Jack's fault. Jack just ended up winning competitions. But I don't think people really hate Jack. And they shouldn't. He's a good dude. AOL chat room pre-MySpace. Wow. Yeah, and like the problem with Jag is like I think people underrate his win a little bit. Not much. I would say he's the fifth worst winner, fourth worst winner. But I don't know. People just love extreme. I mean, I get it. I said Tucker's the worst player of all time, when that's probably not true. In the same way people said Jag is the worst winner of all time. Like, worse than Jordan, higher than Evil Dick. I think he's better than Evil Dick. I think he's better than Josh, better than Rachel. Maybe that's it. I'm not familiar enough with Adam's game, really. But I think that's kind of the last person I'd consider. I think Jag's like a little worse than Jordan, a little worse than Taylor. He was evicted. Yeah, being evicted is really bad, but you know, he also was like very active and kind of led the back half of the game. So it's kind of hard. Adam was a pretty good player overall. Like, from what I understand, from what I remember, he was good for the season-ish, but like there wasn't that much there. He had the freedom to do that because of the comps. Well, yeah, but I think when you consider like how good a player is, if they happen to be like one of the best to ever compete when it comes to competitions, like Jag is a top 3 comp player, like that is a point in his favor. He also likely can't replicate his winning game again. I think he could replicate his winning game again in any of these new era seasons. Maybe not BB26 if they're fixing things, but his game is weirdly like it's almost like Kevin Martin. Like Kevin Martin's game seems impossible to replicate, but it actually is very easy to replicate. Like the only reason it's not easy to replicate is because Jag made it clearly a problem that they have to fix. Am I the worst eviction notice winner? Of the 3 VIP winners, it was Mike, Tay, and Ned. I mean, it's you or Tay. I think Ned's win was pretty good. I think Tay's win was pretty good too. Oh, Ryan? I think Ryan's probably the worst winner, right? I think Ryan's the worst winner, then Mike, then Tay, then Ned. I think would be my instinct. Tay played a pretty good game, but Tay was willing to go to the finals with Ned, which would have been dicey. I think she might still win because they wanted a woman to win, but best 5 BB winners: Dan, Will, and just in terms of their like them as players, not necessarily winning games. Dan and Will, Derek, Andy. In that last spot, Cody probably. Nicole Franzel is definitely there too. I think June is probably right outside that. I'm not talking BB Canada. I think those would be the 5, and then like on the outsides would be like June, Nicole, Hayden, top 10, sadly. Sure, I mean him and Maggie I'd put in a similar tier. My order would probably be Dan, Will, Cody, Derek, Andy. Maybe Andy over Derek. Derek kind of suffers from success. His season was too easy. It's just too much of a steamroll for me to give a shit. What are MJ and Chelsea yapping about? I would rate this season slightly above average so far. It's been a pretty good start. This week's done a lot to help. I was not as high in the first 2 weeks. Better start than 24 for sure. Better start than 22 and 21. And Surrey dominates this cast. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, week 3 was the leftovers. I mean, did it start yet? Was it Tuesday, Wednesday? I know it's kind of a technicality, but it was early. Okay. It had to be before the veto meeting because that was Turner's speech. What is MJ talking about? What are MJ and Chelsea talking about? I don't know. I'm kind of lost. They're talking about Rabina and Tucker wanting to form something. Mackenzie, Chelsea, Cam, Brooklyn, and who's the 5th? Are they saying Tucker? Any of y'all catch that? Who's the 5th one they're adding? Tucker. It is Tucker. I mean, this group makes no fucking sense. I mean, so Mackenzie is locked in with Tucker, but like, why is Leah not in this group? You know what I mean? Like, Mackenzie and Leah can't be beefing with each other. It's so bad. What do you think of Fessy? He's equivalent to Tucker. I think Fessy is way better than Tucker. Like, Mackenzie and Leah need to be locked in together. It's so bad. It's Mackenzie, Chelsea, Cam, Brooklyn, and Tucker. A Joseph Cam talk. Let's see what's going on here. No, he's talking to someone. Cam's over there. Oh, it's Tucker. Why does Leah not want to work with MJ? They both have their problems with each other. Leah's saying MJ's a pick me. MJ thinks Leah's stupid. Like Brooklyn, Chemo, and Cedric have a final three? What? It's Cedric he's talking to? Is that Cedric? I thought it was Tucker. No, it's Cedric for sure. The way he said yeah. Joseph feels like Cam has a problem with him. It's kind of not that bad of a read. Yeah, I like the way Joseph's done. Like the collective stuff we were all laughing at, but it's somehow kind of worked out because no one like it's because the season's so passive. The players who are active kind of get their way. Tucker is kind of the exception to that because he's so bad, but Joseph's super Cory Wurtenberger in this thing. He's like, personally, for me, it'd be better if Tucker stayed, but him targeting you is non-negotiable. We got to get him out. Where do I think T-Core stands in regards to the vote or just in general? Burslinker. Both. I think T-Core currently is going to vote to keep Quinn, but she seems more malleable than others. She seems kind of burned by Quinn, somewhat even burned by Chemo not telling her about the power. But T-Core and Chemo broke up, kinda. They'll get back together. I'm not worried about that, but she should be more upset at Chemo for telling Tucker instead of her. Has that been made clear? The whole like game of telephone that it was Chemo who told Tucker. She's aware. Okay. I think MJ and Leah are the dumbest BB players. I don't think they're the dumbest, but I think Leah has been not doing much to help her case. I don't think MJ has either, but I think MJ is doing all better than Leah. Less self-destructive, at least. Chemo apologized. 3 a.m. Okay. Did Tucker and Quinn have a final too? I don't believe so. But I mean, that could be off feeds. It's very possible that happened. When does Taryn usually post the forums? The roundtable forums? At noon. It should be here soon then. It's usually up by now. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll do that then when it's posted. I know he's feeling a bit under the weather. But you have a job, Taryn. Come on. Keep up. Ranking these players would be hard this week. It's very complicated. He's doing better today. Amazing. It takes me a while to get better when I'm sick. It is not a quick thing. How do we get access to it? It's via his Twitter. Taryn Armstrong. Or Armstrong Taryn on Twitter, I think. Are you going to be on a roundtable this season? Maybe. If they ask, I'll do it, of course. But I think there's so many people who they want to have on the network to talk about the season, and I'm talking about it every week on the updates, that it's almost give that spot to someone else, That's how I feel, at least. America should go on. Well, she was on the slop yesterday. She was great in the slop, of course. She's a star. I just wish she would get less nervous about him. It's like, for someone so good at something, I feel like when I'm good at something, I don't get as nervous for it. Is America into ranking players like that? I think America's more of a gamer than you guys would think. But I think she's perfect for the slop, right? She did a roundtable ranking for the Reality Kingdom. Yeah. So I guess I'll be doing that as well. Those things are long, right? The Reality Kingdom things? What are they, like 2 hours? We can get cams on someone else, honestly. Honestly. The rankings take a while. I'm down. I enjoy it. Yeah, I see. I'm going to wait for the Survivor Cast to officially get announced. I enjoy having the bios and everything. America one was 2.5 hours. That's crazy. I mean, sure, mine will too. This week was more eventful than last week. But also, I think America talks more than I do in these podcasts. I end my thoughts a bit more. Huh. Someone on the Survivor season I think I've met before on 48. He approached us at in New York. Vanessa said she'd be willing to go on Big Brother again. Holy shit. I think Vanessa's my number one request for a returning player. I think she'd be my number one. Her, Eric Stein, I think are my two. Same person Owen referred to? I think so, yeah. Is that real from Vanessa? I don't know. They come back from the first tribal, beat you, Zach. Exactly. That'd be good. The women beat Germany in soccer. They're going to win everything. Eric Stein, best player to never win. Who's the best player to never win? I think I would lean towards Vanessa. I think season 17 was a much harder cast. Obviously, he had his restrictions. I think I would lean Vanessa. I think Tyler is a very fair one too, but Tyler was so self-destructive on All Stars. Like, I think it's Tyler. I would say Tyler, Vanessa, Eric. I think Paul's right there too. Danny. I think Danielle Reyes, I would not. I would have her like top 5, but not top 3. I don't think Nicole's that underrated from BB2. I think for me it would be like Tyler, Vanessa, Eric, Danielle. That last spot's kind of hard. Or Paul. I think I'd have Paul above Danielle. So Paul 4, Danielle 5. Danielle only lost due to the jury thing. I mean, she was aware of that, and she also, I don't know. If she got to the end with Jason like she wanted to, she would have lost. Danielle's really good, but I don't. You know, Paul above Eric. I think that's a very reasonable opinion to have. I just don't hold Paul's BB18 game that high, and I think Eric's BB8 game versus Paul's BB19 game, they're super different, but I think they're similar levels of impressive. Herrick would have done much worse if he wasn't America's player. Now that's a take. That's a take. Paul was given a huge advantage in 19. Eric was given a huge disadvantage. Yeah, I think so. How about the worst winner? I think it's Evil Dick, probably. Evil Dick. I think Evo did help him at first, to be fair. But that was him making the best, most of it. Like, it wasn't like it was inherently advantageous. I did hear about that. It's weird. Like, how can you threaten someone who wants to leave anyways? I guess take away your stipend. But the stipend's not that big at week 3, but it's still money. I guess he's saying, like, I'd rather just get voted out legit and get the money. I'd go Rachel. I don't know. I think Rachel had a lot of things that were obviously set up in her favor, but she was a very active player. And so was Dick, but I think she's less hateable than Evil Dick. I think it's Evil Dick or Rachel. I think Josh is probably number 3 for me. Rachel has comp ability. Evil Dick won some comps, though. Evil Dick was no slouch. Which cast had the best players? I think it's either... Well, Big Brother 22 is obvious, but outside of the returning player seasons, I'm pretty sure it's Big Brother 23. I think it's 23... 12 was pretty solid. 16 was pretty solid, but there's so many bad players. 3 wasn't bad. But it's impossible to pick an early season like that. I think 17 is also a pretty strong cast. I think BB23, because BB23, it's like X was a solid player, Kylan was solid, Tiffany was obviously really good, Derek X was solid, Claire was solid. Even like the bad players, like Alyssa Lopez wasn't that bad. Ozza wasn't that bad. Chada was good, obviously. 15 is also a good answer. Like, because Amanda and McCrae were both gaming really hard. Spencer was playing really hard. Andy, of course. Alyssa wasn't that bad. Helen was gaming. No, DX wasn't great, but by BB standards, he's solid. He understood the game. Travis. A lot of Travis love. Like, I'm not the biggest Alyssa Lopez defender, but I think there's much worse players. I'm pretty sure I did a... Yeah, I did a presentation about this, right? Meridian Review did winners ranking and put Jag last. Look, he's in the conversation. I don't think he's last, though. Like, look, the reason I don't think he's last is very simple. I think he's one of the best competitors in Big Brother history, and that's a real skill. It's a real asset that is important in modern Big Brother. Like, and I know people criticize who he was competing against, but like, again, America's time in BB Comics was really good, and he smoked it by 3 minutes. Like, the cast was weak, and he was an excellent competitor. Like, it was both. His winners ranking is based on their winning game. Well, his winning game, he won the most competitions in Big Brother history in one season, you know? So that's the argument for him. I don't think it's an unreasonable argument. He was trash in other aspects. Look, I don't disagree, but I think totally neglecting his biggest strength is not particularly fair. BB7 Will is still the best player ever peak-wise. It was a very impressive season, but he fumbled hard towards the end. Like, really, really hard. I think it's my favorite season, Katie. I love BB10, but I think BB7's my favorite. Yeah, and I think the thing with Jag is, like, he also, like, the setup for the season was bad. Like, all of us on BB25 were really starting uphill, being against Surrey, Jared, Izzy. So, like, he did a horrible job in the first half of the game, but you kind of start in a bad position, and then it's kind of difficult to recover. And once he did recover, you know, once week 6 kind of happened, he played fine, you know. No, we're doing the player ranking today. Anime. We're doing first off. Well, we're probably gonna do both of them at this part of the stream because the Reality Kingdom is probably gonna go late, and we'll do like a nightcap stream after where we like drink a little bit, watch the feeds. So we'll probably do both the player ranking and the Google Forums this stream. He would have been horrible without Suri in there. Y'all, if Suri's not in there, Family Style might be like, you know, the Bomb Squad or the Detonators, you know? Jag might play one of the most dominant games in BB history. I don't think that would happen because I don't think he has that game ability. But, like, without Suri, BB25 is probably a very straightforward, there's the cool jocks and the underdogs kind of season. If they ever did another All-Stars, would you vote? Would you want another fan vote like they did in BB7? Absolutely not. Sounds miserable. Oh my god. I'm so glad that I've never been around for one of those. I guess I was there for Survivor 31, but that seems miserable. Izzy would have been a great ally for you without Surya. I think Izzy would have been gone immediately. I think I would have been able to work with Izzy a lot more, but I think it would have been very tough to imagine. Fan vote with BB Twitter would be so toxic. It'd be horrible. Oh god. You're playing Warzone. Everyone check them out. Suri and Jared changed all the dynamics. Yeah, I think it's hard to overstate. Like it was pretty crazy. I do know Boogie lost the power because he told Will about the coup d'etat. it's, it's so funny because these days they wouldn't do that. They would just like sweep it under the rug and be like, "Yo, just don't mention it again, please." Look, I would love to see a second Survivor Second Chances or Big Brother Second Chances or whatever. But now that I'm in the community, I don't want to do that. I don't want to campaign. It's the most miserable shit ever. What do you think would have happened if you didn't evict Izzy? If I don't evict Izzy, Cameron probably still goes next. I think it works out somewhat similarly because Jag might just comp out. I think what happens is some combination of me, America, and Jag leave after Cameron, and then Jared probably wins the game. Jared or Suri. I think. Me thinks. Maybe Matt could still weasel his way to the end if he's able to comp out, but I don't know if Matt would be able to comp out over Izzy and Jared because Matt was really bad at a lot of stuff. I think I did a Second Chances presentation too, right? Yeah, let's see. Here's my Big Brother Second Chances cast I did on Patreon. Kyland. I think Kyland's such a fun TV. I really like him on the challenge as well. Michael. I think Michael just plays really hard. And he brings the drama. Or not brings the drama, but he's willing to fight his ass off to, you know, stay in the house and win the game. Cliff. Cliff gets a lot of hate. Which, if it's for his like behavior on BB21, sure. But in terms of his as a game player, I think Cliff's a really underrated player. I think he's really good. And he plays really hard. And he's still super involved in the community. I think Cliff would be very fun again. I think people saying Cliff was not good on his season is crazy. What did Cliff do? He flipped the entire house. Like, he flipped the entire house. And, like, maneuvered really well and got himself to the Final Four where he really could have won the game. Tommy, for sure. Love Tommy. Just another gamer. Like, all these people would play so hard, you know? Ollie. Just love Ollie. I'll go check it out in a second. Matt Hoffman, obviously. Devin is the easiest casting choice of all time. Then I got Tiffany, Vanessa, Libra. I don't think anyone would argue with this. Izzy, Amber. I really like Amber on the challenge, so this is my biased take. Helen, Chada. That's my list. All right, let's see this. T-Core and Chelsea combo. Where's Eric? Yeah, Eric should be on there. I would take off Matt Hoffman and put Eric there. Or maybe Michael and put Eric there. Who are they talking about? Cedric? Talking about Cedric? Oh, it's chemo. They're talking about chemo, I think, right? The stock watch polls up? Okay. After this conversation. T-Court, Chelsea trying to make the alliance with Tabina. Yeah, I mean, I think it's smart because there's a good chance Tucker stays. Chelsea needs to cook less. Maybe. Tell you what, Brooklyn's involved in every one of these groups. You'd love to see it. All right, I think we're ready to do the four. Okay, Big Brother 26 player rankings, ranking on their overall ability as a player. 1 being the worst. Bottom tier, no chance to win. 10 being the best. They're up there with the best. A strong favorite to win. Okay. So I'm not gonna look at the rankings from last week. I want this to be an independent ranking, right? Independent thought is important. I think Angela, I would say, is still a 3. You can't rank her better than that. She seems to be in almost no immediate danger, but she's certain to be nominated by basically everyone. But she's in no danger, which is better than she was before. I think she has next to no chance of winning, but that doesn't mean no chance of winning. It's next to it. So I think Angela's a 3. V for Vanessa. Thank you for the Prime. 7 months. It's a long time. By the way, happy 10-month anniversary to me in America. Woohoo! Look at us go. You all are the wind beneath our wings. Watch us soar. Okay, Brooklyn. Yeah, I mean, I think Brooklyn's in the best spot, probably. I think an 8 is still, like, pretty aggressive, considering where she's at, but I think I'll give it to her. Like, if anyone deserves an 8, I think it's Brooklyn. But, like, in this house, she's an 8. You know, 8 feels strong for Brooklyn, but I'll give it to her. I think she deserves it. She's in such a strong position. Cameron. I mean, he's not great. I think, like, you could still give him a 5. He's really not in immediate danger. I think this week actually kind of worked out okay for Cam, but I have no faith in Cam as a player at all. So I think it's a 4 for me for Cam. I actually have no faith, and he's in, like, an okay spot. He's not in immediate danger, but I think he'll get in immediate danger. No one really trusts him. I think it's a 4 or 5 for me. I'm gonna say 4. Cedric, I think it's a 6. I don't think you put him higher than that. I really liked the way he played this week, but I think Tucker's plan just kind of put him in a bad spot. Like, because Tucker was so defiant in what he wanted to do, he was going to make an enemy out of Tucker or Quinn, which is not good. I think he made the right decision, ultimately, siding with Quinn. Because now, like, even if Tucker wins HOH, he's fine, provided that Quinn doesn't get voted out this week. The way this backfires in Cedric is Quinn gets voted out this week and Tucker wins HOH, and he could be in serious danger. But even then, he has the veto and the AI arena, which he's probably pretty likely to win one of them. But if Quinn stays, no matter who wins HOH, Quinn's going to take it over and be grateful to Cedric. So I think 6 is pretty good. Cedric just needs Quinn to survive a week and Tucker to go out this week or next week. I think there's a decent chance that happens. I think Joseph also gets a 6 for me, up from his 5 that I think I gave him last week. This is Chelsea. I think Chelsea gets a 7. I really like Chelsea's game. I mean, I think she does a little bit too much. I think she overcooks, but she's in a good spot. I think she, is better connected than just about everybody. I wish she can get over this Cam Leah stuff. It's not that important. It's not that deep. She's got, a lot of the girls liking her a lot. She's even got, a decent relationship with, T-Core, Chemo and them. She's obviously got the Pentagon. She's got the Collective. I don't think she's going to be a target for Tucker. I mean, Tucker and Rabina are trying to make a thing with her in Brooklyn. So I think Chelsea's doing pretty well. Pretty happy. Joseph, I think, is a 6. This week helped him out a lot. It moved a lot of people up in the target hierarchy compared to him. Quinn is now way up there. Tucker's way up there. Kenny's going to stay there. Angela's going to stay there. Cam and Leah and Mackenzie seem like he's just all of a sudden in a pretty safe position. He's kind of willed the Collective into existence, which is very powerful for him. He's on the fringes of it. He doesn't have amazing connections across the board, but he's got short-term security. I think he has game acumen. He knows how to maneuver. I think he's definitely on the upswing. He's laying low. I'm really happy with Joseph overall this week. He just can't be higher than a 6 because he doesn't have any active paths towards the end. But Kenny, I think I'm gonna give Kenny a 1. He's got nothing. He has no chance of winning. He keeps trying to quit. He's probably going to be evicted this week. Every week he's not evicted, he's going to try to get evicted. I got nothing to say. It's a 1. Chemo is a weird player. I think Chemo, does he get a 6 still? This is Kenny. I think Chemo, I mean, I would say a 5 probably for Chemo. I think that sounds more accurate. I think a 4 is harsh. He's still in a fine position. No one's really targeting Chemo. He's kind of losing T-Core, which is bad, but he's not going to be targeted by anyone. I still think he's a solid player. He's in the Collective. I don't think there's too much danger looming for Chemo. I'm not super high on his game, though, of course. His relationships are greatly diminished. Yeah, I think they've kind of diminished slowly, but that's rebuildable, whereas some of these big blow-ups, it's kind of hard to recover from that. Let's talk about Leah. I think Leah's here. I think she's worse than Cam. You could argue a 4. She's not in immediate danger, but I think I'm going to give her a 3. She just actively works against her best interests. It's very frustrating to watch. She's shit-talking MJ for no reason. She's shit-talking Quinn, who wants to work with her. She's shit-talking Cam, who's in love with her. At a certain point, you have to use your social game to actually get allies. Seems like she has an okay social game and then just burns all those bridges whenever she has the chance. I've got next to no faith in Leah as a player, but I would love to be, love to have my mind changed. Mackenzie, I think Mackenzie's a 4. I think she's marginally better than Leah. I mean, here's the thing with Mackenzie, right? The fact that her power was flushed is crazy. It should be super obvious for her, or super easy for her to, protect. No, she's a 3. I'm sorry. I'm giving Mackenzie a 3. I've changed my mind. The problem with Mackenzie is she had this power that should have kept her safe for 4 weeks. Now it's keeping her safe for 3 weeks. That's really bad. It's such a powerful shield, and she failed at using it how she should. I don't think she's built meaningful connections in that time. She seems okay with Chelsea, but Chelsea doesn't really seem down with Mackenzie or Leah. She's even beefing with Leah now. Like, Kenny wants to work with all the boys. Like, what's Mackenzie's path forward? I see nothing. She's not as bad as Leah. She's not as bad of a player, but she's probably in a worse position. Much more of an imminent target. She just failed to make deep connections since Matt left. I agree, Hood. Yeah, I'm not high on Mackenzie's game. Also, low key, here's my hot take of the day. BB Twitter, run with it. The meanest Twitter accounts by far are Mackenzie and Angela stans, right? Is that y'all's experience? Like, it would suck to be Mackenzie and, like, damn, like, these are the people who are in view. Mackenzie especially. The Mackenzie stans are pretty brutal. Very dumb. The Angela fans are ridiculous. Like, they almost feel like memes more than anything else. But the Mackenzie stans are nuts. The Tucker thing I get. Like, I get being a fan of Tucker's. You know what I mean? In terms of, like, he's great drama and whatever. And some of them are a little delusional, but that's okay. I feel like I've seen more mean comments towards me from Mackenzie stans than anyone else. And I'm like, that's weird. I like good TV, so I'm an Angela fan. Secretly, I think Angela is, like, one of the biggest contributors to, like, bad TV at this point. Like, she's so clearly a nominee every week. I think she's kind of dragging down the season. I think Angela and Kenny. Mostly Kenny, but... yeah, I think if someone pulled in Mackenzie, it'd be very powerful. I just don't really see that happening. Quinn. I mean, it's a 4, I would say, for Quinn. I think it's a 4. There's a chance he gets evicted this week, which is obviously terrible. But if he doesn't get evicted, he's the HOH. He's a very weird person to evaluate. So let's try to evaluate him more big picture. I think his relationships have taken a big hit this week. He's kind of lost a lot of stuff with Kenny or Chemo and T-Core. He's obviously burned bridges or had bridges burnt with, like, Tucker, which is really bad. He still has, like, kind of the Pentagon, but even they don't have much faith in him. He's got Joseph, which I think is good. I know he's an active player, so I think he has more of an ability to get himself in a better position, but he's got a lot of people targeting him. I think the fact that he has the next week HOH is kind of balanced out by the fact he might be evicted this week before he can use it. So I think 4 is about right for Quinn. I think Quinn being at 4 is about right. And a tweet that Quinn wants to target Cedric soon, it's not even that bad of an idea for Quinn. Like, Quinn has reached the Cory part of the game way too early. What I mean by that is it came to a point in the game where I had too many ops. I had too many enemies. Because I had to get rid of Matt and Jag. But before that, I needed to get rid of Blue. And I needed to get rid of Cameron. And all of a sudden, you're like, I can't get rid of all these people. Like, I have to keep some of them, and they're going to be the ones who evict me. Like, Quinn has too many ops. He has to get rid of Tucker. He has to get rid of Angela. He has to get rid of Mackenzie. He has to get rid of, like, Leah for some reason. You know what I mean? He just has too... Rabina doesn't seem to like Quinn. He has to target too many people. He's going to get one of them out next week. But that's not enough. He doesn't need Angela out anymore. I think Angela would target Quinn. I really think. But I think 4 because he has the next HOH. And I know he's a gamer, so maybe he could figure something out. Okay, Rabina. I think... I mean... Is she a 4 or a 5? Do I think she's worse than Chemo? I think she's a 5. I don't think she's in as bad of a spot as Quinn. I would say she's a 5 still. I think she's picked the wrong side, seemingly. I don't like her going all in with Tucker, but she's not really anyone's target. I don't really see her being nominated with, Angela and Tucker being there. Force too low, Quinn won't be targeted as long as he doesn't blow the collective. He already did blow up the collective to Joseph. And he's being targeted by everyone outside the collective. That's why he's a 4. And he could be evicted this week. I think Rabina still has connections. Like, she still has some of the girls liking her, but her association with Tucker is really damning. The thing is, she has shields in front of her, so she's not in immediate danger. I don't hate the way she maneuvers through the house, but I think her position has taken quite a hit. Rabina being put up next to Tucker. It's possible, but I don't see Rabina going home. Like, even if Tucker wins AI Arena, I think there'll be someone next to her who's more dangerous. He blew up the Pentagon. You're right. I apologize. I misspoke. But again, like, the collective is not everyone in the house. And, like, how loyal are people in the collective to the collective? I think Rabina's a 5. I think that's fair. T-Core. So this is weird, right? Because T-Core was kind of done dirty a little bit by Chemo, but I don't like her holding a grudge. Like, I want her to just forgive him because it's good for her game. Like, it's not good that T-Core is anti-Chemo right now. I think it's between a 6 and a 7. I think 6 feels more right to me. I don't hate the way T-Core is playing. She's been very chill, so I'm not upset with her, but I don't think she's done much to better her position. No alliance is solidified. She's on the outside of the collective, which is not good, but she's in the collective. Losing Tucker's not good for T-Core. I think he was very open to work with her. She's in a good spot, but I don't think it's amazing. Nowhere near to a target. Yeah, a lot of security. And now we're at Tucker, and I think I'm going to give Tucker a 2. I'm going to give him a 2, because you can never give a person who has this comp ability a 1. Jag should have taught you guys that. If you're a strong guy, you can't get a 1 or a 0. I think Tucker is one of these people who officially cannot win the game. I think Kenny, Angela, and Tucker I put in that category. You know what? But let me put Angela at 2. There's no redeeming quality by Angela's game. Angela's cooked. She has no chance of winning. But I think Tucker's a 2. I think he's shown himself to be playing way too erratically. Has no strategic sense. He's won too many competitions. People are talking about him as a target in that angle. Why is Kenny a 1? Because Angela and Tucker don't want to quit. She can win next to Kenny. Be fucking for real. You're saying Angela, if she gets to the end with Kenny, can win. I'll give you that. But he could win competitions. Like, Tucker could very well be safe this week. Even if he doesn't win the AI Arena, he might be safe against Kenny. He might even be safe against Quinn, possibly. But every ounce of Tucker's bad position is a result of Tucker being ridiculous. He's very fun TV. I'm rooting for Tucker to stick around for a little bit longer. But he has every reason to blame himself for what's happened this week. So that's my rankings. I think it's about right. Brooklyn's the best, and then Chelsea, and then you got this Cedric, Joseph, and yeah, this seems right to me. I did see Leah and Rabina call Quinn creepy. Which, if they feel that way, that's fair. I will say, Leah says a lot about every guy in the house. So I don't know, Not that I wouldn't take it seriously, but, like, Leah says she hates Cam and then flirts with Cam all day and says doesn't like Quinn and is best friends with Quinn all day, It feels more like a casual conversation than like a, y'all, we need to talk to the DR about Quinn. I've been bullied. I've been the bully. That is true. Tucker did say that. All right, let's do the other ratings. From my favorite to least favorite. Okay. My fave right now, I think, is Cedric. I really enjoy watching Cedric on the feeds. I think Joseph's my number 2 fave. I think then it's probably Quinn. I think then it's probably... I think it's then probably like some combination of T-Core and like Chemo. I still like Chemo a lot. I'd say T-Core, Brooklyn, Chemo. I like Chelsea though. I'd say Chelsea's here. It's not letting me adjust it. There you go. Out of these people, I think then I would have Rabina. Then I would have, I think Tucker. Mackenzie would be over these people. Kenny's still last. Angela, I think, has to go down quite a... Well, Angela, I still like Angela a lot. I would say she's under T-Core, though. Angela at 4. I enjoy Angela. I think this is about right to me. I think I like Mackenzie more than Cam. And Leah more than... I like Cam over Leah. This feels right to me. Cedric, Joseph, Quinn, T-Core, Angela, Brooklyn, Chemo, Chelsea, Rabina. I think it's about right. Who do you plan to vote to put on the block? Cam. Rate the episodes this week. I didn't watch all of them. I watched, like, I would say fucking 4. I don't like the episodes. Rate the feeds this week. It's been a really good feeds week. It's 9. It's been good. Like, let's just enjoy it. They've been really good feeds. Rate the season as a whole. I would say 6 out of 10. For me. Just for me. Maybe I'm a hater. Cedric's HOH reign. I would say it's 6. Like, he was put in a really tough spot, and I think he did okay in that spot. I'd say a 6. The AI arena twist. I'd say a 4. I think there's upside to it, but I don't like it. Rate the upgrade/downgrade twist. It's brought a ton of drama. I don't like America's vote. I think it's a 5. Who do you want to be evicted this week? Kenny. Much success. Much success. All right, are y'all ready to do player rankings? We just kind of did it. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking of just doing it now. We'll do player rankings, then end stream for a while. Honestly, for a really long time, till later tonight after the Reality Kingdom. I'll be just chilling, watching feeds. I just finished class today. Last class of Vanderbilt ever. Still have some tests to take, but no more actual classes. So let's do the chopping block first, just as a refresher. The player rankings from last week. Let me make sure I have the right ones loaded up. This is how I can test if I've got the right ones loaded up. So this one. So this is the old one, which is correct. All right, so let's look at that first, right? So last week for the chopping block, we had Mackenzie, Leah, Kenny, Lisa, and Angela. So Lisa, obviously evicted. So I think this is about accurate. I think I did a pretty good job here. Not too bad of a job. And then for the player rankings last week, obviously a lot has shifted there. I had Brooklyn first, then Chelsea, then Quinn, Rabina, Chemo, T-Core, Joseph, Cedric, Cam, and Tucker. So pretty wicked. I don't walk for graduation. I could walk May if I want, but I don't think I'm going to be too interested. I'll tweet out that I'm doing the player rankings now in case anyone's interested. Just I'll respond to my other tweet. So there's the player rankings from last week. A lot has changed, obviously. Let's start with the chopping block. Now, we are down to 14 members. Now, the way this works, we used to do bottom 5, bottom 6 would be chopping block, and the top 10 would be the player rankings. Now, I am drawing a line between the chopping block and player rankings. So essentially, the way that works is I'm drawing a line where I think these people are truly in danger on the chopping block, and these people are, not deserving of that harsh label. Is kind of the way I'm doing it. So, maybe the chopping block's 3 people, maybe it's 6 people, maybe it's 8 people. So I get a cap and gown if you don't walk. I think I have to buy one. I'll do some kind of celebration. But anyways, we start with the chopping block. Who do you guys think I have ranked as the worst player at this point in the game? Big Brother 26. Before we talk about this, let's again explain how my enigmatic power rankings work. It is not just who's the best player, who's in the best position. It's a rich tapestry taking into account all the factors. It's a quilt woven by the history of Big Brother, with the present feeds, with the potential competitions in the future. It's a rich tapestry, I can't stress it enough. And of course, Kenny is last. Look, my rich tapestry algorithm didn't need to come into play here. Kenny wants to quit. Kenny's the worst. Come on, sweet Kenny K. It's hard to find stuff to praise about sweet Kenny K right now. Cat Dunn is out playing a violin in a meadow somewhere. He wants to quit. He's probably going to be evicted this week. If he's not evicted this week, he's going to try to get evicted next week. He has no chance of winning the game. You just been lurking, Mom? Mom, you're at work. The temple's relying on you. Close the stream. So, Kenny's last. There's no redeeming quality about Kenny. I think we can move on. Who do y'all have at number 13? Because I think you guys are going to be between 2 people for number 13. Numero... What is it? 11, 12, 13? Numero 13. Angela and Tucker seem to be the 2 main names, and you guys are, of course, correct. I have Angela at 13. This is a direct result of win equity. I think Angela has 0 win equity, and as much as I want to say Tucker has 0 as well, he could still win competitions. I don't think he's lost the respect of the house guests in terms of, if Tucker manages somehow to get to the end, I do think he wins. He could also win comps, which is huge in Big Brother, obviously, when you're in that kind of position. Why is Angela bold? It's the template I use. It's not very intentional. But Angela's got no win equity at all. Has more short-term security now, but she's being dragged as long as she can get dragged. That's basically where I stand with Angela. No redeeming qualities really outside of a little bit of short-term security. That's it. So, she was in a worse position last week, so she's heading in the right direction. She was number 15 last week, now she's number 13. Tucker still has allies wanting to go to bat for him. Angela's got no one. So, Angela at number 13. Who do you guys have at number 12? Tucker. Leah. Mac. Tucker. Leah. Well, at number 12, I have Tucker. So, the more feeds I watch today, the better I feel about Tucker's position in the game. A lot of people still want to work with him. I think he has some outs this week, his most obvious one being the AI Arena. If he's up against Kenny, he might just stay outright. If he's up against Quinn, he has a fighting chance. He has a shot. This ranking is mostly a result of his game ability. He's terrible. He's one of the worst players I've ever witnessed. His strategic thinking is beyond comprehension. He won the veto and didn't use it on himself after volunteering for the block for the second week in a row as a physical threat. He's a disaster. He was even warned that his plan would not go through, so he should use the veto on himself, and despite that, he still took Angela off the block. Just nothing good from Tucker. What he has going for him, he still seemingly has Rabina, he has Leah and Mackenzie wanting to work with him. Obviously, Kenny is... If Tucker stays, that means Kenny's going to get evicted, but Kenny is still in his corner, which is better than nothing. There's just no path for... the opposite. Like, Tucker has paths to be safe for a little bit, but he's going to, no matter how good his positioning is, Tucker will find a way to put his game in jeopardy. I have more faith in Kenny and Angela's game ability than I have Tucker. So, I think number 12 is pretty generous. I think he has a great shot at being evicted this week. If not this week, very likely next week. That's where I feel Tucker deserves to be ranked. Now, let's go on to number 11. Numero 11. Tucker will stay over Quinn if they're up together on Thursday. I really disagree, Dino. I think it'll be a close vote, but I think Quinn has the votes, ultimately. I think it'll be a 6-5 or 7-4. Leah, Cam, MJ, Rabina. Is the purple on that? Leah or Rabina? Cam, Leah. At number 11, this is a very difficult decision. I have landed on Leah. Here's the situation with Leah. She actively is trying to destroy her position at every turn. And we're going to talk about them together, because I have MJ at 10. So, Leah and MJ was a very difficult ranking to do in my head. Here's the advantages for MJ. MJ is a much stronger physical competitor, and she seems to be a lot less self-destructive. MJ has allies she wants to work with, talks highly of those allies, is trying to work with those allies. She's not being very successful in building those relationships and those alliances, but I feel like she has a direction she wants to head in and is being pretty consistent in heading that direction. The negatives for Mackenzie. She's very likely to be a target as early as next week. I think Tucker still is targeted before her. I think Quinn is targeted before her if someone on the other side wins, but Quinn, no. Quinn's going to be evicted or be the HOH. That's irrelevant. I think MJ is going to touch the block next week, almost guaranteed, which is really bad. I think with the AI Arena, that gives her another way to save herself, but also another way for Tucker to save himself and her to be sent home. The biggest kind of criticism I have of MJ's game is she got America's veto, which should have given her such a buffer, so much time to recover, and she hasn't spent that time very well. She's built a relationship with Chelsea, but Chelsea doesn't seem super invested in the MJ and Leah of it all. Her relationship with Leah's deteriorated. Her relationship with Kenny's deteriorated because he wants to work with the guys. I just don't see her allies. kind of the most damning part about it is this is a power that should have kept her safe for 4 weeks, and it's kind of not done that. It's like they still chose to flush the power despite the risks, despite the ability of her to win HOH and target whoever. That goes without saying that America can nominate whoever, which is scary for the House. So she's only getting 3 weeks of safety instead of 4 weeks out of it. Good on her for playing the power, but damn, that's the bare minimum, huh? Now, let's talk about Leah. Leah is not going to be an immediate target. I think MJ goes before her. I think Tucker goes before her. Kenny, if he's still here, goes before her. But she is much more actively destroying her own position. She's got a lot of people who are somewhat open to working with her, and she keeps shit-talking them to the wrong people. She could just be with Cam as a duo. Not a showman necessarily, but Cam's clearly open to working with her. And she has shut that down and shit-talked Cam at every turn. Quinn wants to work with her. She shut that down and shit-talked him at every turn. MJ and her seem like a duo. She shit-talks her at every turn. Who the fuck does Leah have? I don't know, even in Leah's mind, who Leah wants to work with. I guess it's like Brooklyn and Chelsea and like them, but they have no interest. Chelsea hates Leah. The reason I have Leah below Mackenzie is I generally have more faith in Mackenzie to figure it out than Leah. I think Leah, right now, if you had a gun to my head, I had to guess who makes it further. My guess would be on Leah. I just see zero world where Leah makes a deep run at this and wins the game. Could Leah make it deep? Maybe. I think MJ is more likely to be cut very soon, but could she win the game? Potentially. Maybe. Compatibility is a pretty big part of that. I just have no faith in Leah. And I have a little bit in Mackenzie, even though I'm not the biggest fan. So that's my chopping block. I kept it at these people. I think everyone who's above this is in a significantly better position than these 5, whether it's a result of their game ability or just their positioning in the house. This is their rankings. So, hope you all agree. Because now we move on to the top 10, the player ranking. So we're at the top 9. Everyone at this point, I think, is in a somewhat reasonable position, has a little bit of green in front of them. So, at number 9, who do you all think? I see a lot of people saying it has to be Cam. It's gotta be. Cam. Someone says Quinn. It's Cam. So here's the thing with Cam. Cam has this position over Leah and MJ for the sole reason he's in the Pentagon, he's in the collective. I think Cam has actually done a lot, or no, he hasn't done a lot. The events of the house have worked out in Cam's favor, where there's going to be some targets in front of him now. The collective kind of re-solidifying is really advantageous for Cam. The Pentagon doesn't really trust him, at least Cedric and Chelsea don't. And obviously Quinn doesn't, but that's fine. They're not going to be targeting him. If anything, they'll target Leah. He was kind of like an immediate target for Quinn's HOH. Tucker has stolen that position for himself, and Cam seems to be an ally of Quinn's, at least in Quinn's eyes at this point. I think Cam's security in the game is much better. Most of this ranking is a result of his game ability. I have no faith in Cam. He's kind of just been wasting his time arguing with Leah. His closest allies don't trust him. I don't see a defined path towards the end, but he has some time to figure that out while, Tucker and Kenny and maybe even like Quinn have to be dealt with. Cam's above Quinn. No one's targeting Cam. Yes, but Quinn's probably going to be the next HOH, and Cam has shown himself to be a much worse player than Quinn in my eyes. Quinn is messier. He's in a rougher spot, but I have a lot more faith in Quinn than Cam. Much, much more faith. And it's not like there's a big gap between the two. But I think ultimately this week was good for Cam. The way things shook out, I think his position has improved. It's just, I don't have faith that he can maintain that position actively. I think he's a player who is going to go with the win, and hopefully it works out for him. Thank you, JPR. The gift, I appreciate you. 106. You're crazy. I appreciate you. How's Quinn going to be HOH from home? I don't think he gets evicted this week. He's in danger, but I think he's going to be all right. He feels overrated game-wise. Who do you guys think I have at number 8? Who do you guys think I have at number 8? Any theories? I have Quinn. So again, like, the players I'm ranking Quinn over are Cam, Mackenzie, Leah, Kenny, Angela, and Tucker. This is not a glowing endorsement of Quinn's game right now. I've talked about it already. I think Quinn has a very big problem in that he has too many enemies at this point. Tucker is a clear enemy. Mackenzie is a clear enemy. Leah seems to be an enemy for some reason now. Kenny's an enemy. Angela's an enemy. He needs to get rid of all these people, and he only has one HOH. Hopefully he can get rid of Tucker. I think that's his most important target. But he's really made a mess of this all. He could be evicted this week. That's really dangerous. He's just too loosey-goose with information. It's kind of led to his demise. I will say a lot of what happened this week, like... So he told Angela and Chemo about his power, which is bad. Telling Angela is a little bit unlucky, because she was the HOH, and no one could have predicted Angela would be Angela. And then that's how Tucker found out. Like, it's not like he told Tucker and then Tucker blew him up. Like, Tucker had to be kind of insane to blow up on Quinn the way he has and target him. Like, it's kind of a crazy turn of events that led to Quinn being in danger that he couldn't really have predicted. He was messy and he allowed for the possibility, but I don't think it was like a massive game error from Quinn that made this the obvious choice. Quinn's leaked the Pentagon to Joseph, which, look, I think Joseph's the right person to lock in as your final 2, but that feels like a bold thing to do after the Pentagon just chose not to backdoor you and you need their votes. I'm not a huge fan of the way Quinn's playing this game. I don't think he has close connections anymore. He's kind of losing Chemo and T-Core, which is really bad. There's not much to praise, except for the fact he knows the game. He has the next HOH. He's a physical guy. Those are the points in his column. I am rooting for Quinn. I hope he can figure it out, and I hope he gets to be HOH next week, because I think that'll give him an opportunity to maybe glue things back together. Maybe. Who do y'all think I have at number 7? I don't know if he has 5 locked votes against him. It depends how seriously you take the Leah stuff, which is likely. Everyone's saying Rabina, and everyone's correct. Rabina. I think Rabina is a very flawed player. She has associated with the wrong people, seemingly. It felt like she was in this good position where she could kind of play the middle. But she's kind of sided pretty vehemently with Tucker, which I really don't like. I don't think there's any need for it. Shit-talking Quinn, which is just a dangerous thing to do when Quinn might be the next HOH. It feels like she was in this position where she was good with everybody, and now she's chosen to be good with, like, theoretically the minority alliance. And the reformation of the collective is probably most damaging to Rabina, because the collective is, like, the big alliance, and she's not in it. She was fine when the collective was fake, but now that it's a little bit more real, when you got an 8-person group, it's kind of tough to find people to nominate. Like, if they're targeting Tucker, there's a great likelihood that she's put up next to Tucker, so she can't win the veto and take him off the block. It's just not good for Rabina. Rabina is now, like, instead of being, like, in this theoretical group with Quinn and T-Core and Chemo and Tucker, which would have been very good for her, now she's outside of the Pentagon, outside of the collective, working with, like, Tucker and potentially, like, MJ and Angela, and, you know, she's got paths. She still has, like, good relationship with Brooklyn, and she's got some people. She's not really an immediate threat or in immediate danger, but it's been a downwards trajectory for Rabina, and I'm the number 1 Rabina stan, as you guys know. So kind of tough on Rabina, but number 7 I think feels about right. I still think she hasn't played as poorly as Quinn, Cam, and everyone below her. Yeah, her and T-Core is good. It's a good relationship, but again, like, how much noise are they going to be able to make without a bigger group? All right, who do you think I have at number 6? So just a reminder of who we still have. We've got Joseph, we've got Cedric, we've got Chelsea and Brooklyn, Chemo, and T-Core. That's the 6. Joseph, Chemo, 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 Joseph. Seems like we're between the two. And the answer is Joseph. I know everyone's saying Chemo, and I get it. I get it. Here's my argument against Joseph. Joseph, I don't think, has the social ability or relationships that Chemo has. I trust Joseph's game ability a little bit more, and he's definitely been moving upwards while Chemo's moving downwards, but I don't think it's been dramatic enough from either of them to flip them in the position. First time Joseph's not ranked 7th, by the way. He's been 7th, now 6th, so good for him. Joseph's also a very weak competitor, which is very ominous, because you don't want to be a schemer that people think is a threat and be bad at comps, trust me. This week's been very good for Joseph, though. I mean, all the drama has created a lot of targets that are now in front of him. The collective forming again is good because he's in the collective. He seems to have a lot of conversations with members of the collective, like Cam, like Cedric, mostly the guys, honestly. But they feel very surface level. Like, it kind of feels in these conversations that they're both BSing each other about the alliance. I don't know if you guys are getting that sense. I'm just not super high on, like, Joseph's long-term positioning, but short-term, there's so many people who have to go before him. He knows the game, so I think he'd be willing to make a move if need be. He just needs, like, another side to form, or he needs to get a better relationship with some of the women in the house. That's the way I perceive it. He needs to talk more to the girls. I think that would be very helpful for Joseph. I absolutely think. He's going to be the first out of his own alliance. Yeah, but I don't see the collective sticking together long enough for that to, like, manifest. It's not going to be like the detonators where, like, they're just whittling down the Onion Alliance. Hopefully things will explode before then. But he's got a lot of short-term security. Even if he's put up by America's veto, he's safe. You know, no one's going to vote Joseph out in the same way they'd vote Quinn out. How would Joseph do against Tucker? I think Joseph stays in that case. Because Joseph definitely has Quinn's vote in that case. I think Joseph would stay. And yeah, so number 5, I'm not even going to let you guys guess. It is Chemo. Chemo's had a bad week, I think. Him leaking that information to Tucker, I thought was a good move. It's turned out to be a bad move, at least the way that the way that Chemo's played it. Chemo hasn't followed up with Tucker, and he let this whole thing kind of spiral. He didn't tell T-Core about the power. T-Core's losing faith in him. Quinn and Chemo's relationship is faltering. The benefit that Chemo has is the collective still stands, and he's in the collective, so that's good. You know, he doesn't seem to be in any short-term danger. Neither side's going to target him. I think him and T-Core are going to heal. I'm not too worried about that long-term. I think he still has the ability to work with Quinn and the ability to work with Joseph and these kinds of people. It's not like he's in Tucker's line of fire. He's basically in, like, a much safer position than everyone else. And I think, unlike Joseph, I trust Chemo's social ability with everybody in the house. I think everyone generally likes Chemo more than they like Joseph. So from a pure social standpoint, I think Chemo deserves the ranking over Joseph. And if Joseph was some massive comp beast, maybe that would tilt the tables, but that's not the case. The way I kind of see these rankings is like Cam, Quinn, and Rabina are like a group, and then Joseph and Chemo are a group. I can go either way on these. By the way, as we're speaking, I think Chemo and T-Core are having a strategic conversation. Let me lock in. God, T-Core would make me so nervous as an ally. She's so soft-spoken. They're just cleaning in silence. Y'all, this is your moment. It feels like awkward between the two. Alright, there's nothing happening here. Nothing yet. Rabina's there. Is she really? Where is she? Oh, she's on the other side of the camera. Ah, I see her. Yeah. Chemo, I think, is not in a great spot, but he's not in danger. He has good social ability. I think the wedges between him and Rabina and him and T-Core and these people will heal. It's not like he wronged them super directly. I think he's in a recoverable position. He's in the collective. I think number 5 feels about right. So, number 4. Who do you guys have? The number 4 position between Brooklyn, Cedric, Chelsea, and T-Core. T-Core, Cedric, T-Core, Chelsea, Cedric, Chelsea, Cedric, Brooklyn, Cedric. Well, for me, it's a pretty easy answer here. The number 4 ranked player is Cedric. Basically, the way I feel about Cedric is it's a simple calculation of short-term security. He's in danger. There's a lot of people who can win next week, and I think Cedric would be in jeopardy. Tucker is outright targeting him. I think if that side wins and Quinn's evicted this week, I think Cedric's in a lot of danger. Now, I think Cedric made not the most of a bad situation, but he did pretty well given a very difficult situation. Tucker went at him hard with this plan, and going against it would obviously always create enemies, and going for it would create even more enemies and even more immediate threats. So I think he made the right call protecting Quinn. I like him trying to re-solidify the collective and re-solidify the Pentagon. I like him and Chelsea kind of as a duo. I think he's doing really well, all things considered. He's only 21. I'm really kind of proud of how he's, representing himself on the show, standing up for himself, still being respectful. I'm, having been in that position myself, I'm very impressed with Cedric. He's really fun to watch on the feeds too. I actually trust his strategic ability more than a lot of people in the house, honestly. He seems to have a pretty level head on his shoulders. Maybe he could be pushed around a little bit, but I don't think that's the worst quality in Big Brother. Pretty happy with how Cedric's played this week. He comes out of this week with enemies, 100%, but I don't think it's an unreasonable number of enemies. So, he also has proven himself to be a really, really strong competitor, but people are not really talking about him as oh, we got to get the physical threat Cedric out. So he's proven himself to be able to win competitions, which is valuable. I think we all assumed it, but it does seem like that is the case. Very high on Cedric, rooting for him, happy with how he did this week. So we're at our top 3. It's Brooklyn, Chelsea, and T-Core. Who do you guys got? Seems pretty obvious, to me at least. It's T-Core. I think Cedric and T-Core are also their own tier. I'll put tier breaks next time. Look, I think T-Core has been very passive this week, which is not a terrible thing when the house is blowing up. Just maintaining your position, relaxing is a pretty solid idea. She's basically everyone else is making mistakes around her, and she's not. I think her relationships are faltering a little bit. She's getting closer to Rabina, which is good, but she's falling away from Chemo, which is bad. She's falling away from Quinn, which is bad. But ultimately, it's kind of her decision to pull away from Chemo, so that'll be fixed, I'm sure. I think T-Core is also in the collective, which is very valuable, so she's not going to be targeted by any of those people. No one perceives her as a threat. Everyone knows she's smart, but I don't think they perceive her as a schemer in the same way they perceive Joseph and Quinn, for example. She's a little bit too tied to Rabina and Tucker, Madalena says. And that's true, but ultimately, it's going to depend on where she votes. If she doesn't vote with them, she'll be fine. She'll be in the group. I think Rabina is not necessarily the best influence, but again, even if she goes with them, it's not like she'll be the target or nominated, right? She'll be viewed as an option for Chemo and them to work with, Chelsea to work with, Cam to work with. T-Core has a ton of security. I trust her as a player. I trust her judgment. I trust her socially, even though sometimes she doesn't give enough in conversations. I wish she would give a little bit more. I hope she heals things with Chemo. I think that's her most valuable connection. And I understand most of that's Chemo's fault for, keeping secrets from her. But look, Big Brother is not a game where you should hold grudges. You should remember that he kept that a secret, but you should forgive him very quickly and make it clear to him that you forgive him. So I'm not overly worried about that. I think T-Core's got a lot of security. Trust her game sense. I think number 3 is about fair. But I don't think she is particularly close to the top 2, which are, of course, Chelsea and Brooklyn. Who do you all think I have at number 2? Doing the Roundtable forum before this kind of gives away my perspective. Which, maybe we'll have to adjust that later. I think I'll do my my player rankings before the forum next time. But at number 2, I have Chelsea. To me, Chelsea has proven herself to be a downstairs player. What that means is not someone who should have a position of power. I think she's much better playing in the masses. I think she had a really good week. A lot of the relationships I feel like she lost last week, those with like Quinn and kind of just members of the collective, the 3 Cs, they kind of healed just with the collective reforming. It seems like she's gotten closer to Cedric. Even though she hates Cam and Leah, it doesn't seem like Leah and Cam have much of an idea. I know Cam knows she's kind of on his ass about the Leah stuff, but it feels like Leah still likes Chelsea a lot. Cam is still kind of riding with Chelsea. She also has a great relationship with like the girls, Brooklyn, Leah, MJ. I think she's the person in the house who probably has the most options at this point. It's her or Brooklyn for sure. And as far as her like game judgment goes, I do trust her as a player. I don't think she's some mastermind, but she's shown a level of competency that I don't think you can say most of the cast has shown. So I'm very high on Chelsea in the game right now. I think she's very fun to watch on the feeds. She does have to give up on Cam, or give up this Cam hate. Like, Cam is a valuable ally that she needs to work with. If she wants to get rid of Leah, that's fine, but like, the 3 Cs is so good for Chelsea, and she seems a little bit fixated. But she's playing all sides successfully right now. She could get caught, but I don't really see it. I don't think it benefits really anybody to target Chelsea at this point. She's even kind of good with Tucker. Like, Tucker doesn't have beef with Chelsea. So like, there's no threat of some crazy stuff happening and him getting an HOH. Overall, I'm pretty happy with Chelsea's play this week. I think she's maneuvered well. I think she's put herself in a better position than she was last week. And I just hope she doesn't win an HOH soon, because I think I don't think that's her MO. There you go. Chelsea at number 2, which of course leaves Queen Brooklyn, who's been number 1 every week of my rankings, I believe. Brooklyn's great. I mean, Brooklyn has played all sides of the house the entire time. She had her first little blow up with Kenny. If you're going to blow up against anybody, Kenny's the right person. I think it shows a little bit of tenacity that I kind of wanted to see from Brooklyn. I don't know if she was too reserved before. I don't think it's like, even if Kenny wins, he's not going to turn around and target Brooklyn. Maybe he might, but I just don't really see it. And I'm not worried about a fucking Kenny HOH, y'all. I'm sorry. Brooklyn is kind of a yes man or a yes woman. When people tell her something, she agrees, which is the right impulse. I think she's good at kind of pushing her way a little bit. Ultimately, she kind of just goes with the flow, which I think is what you should be doing at this point in the house in her position. She's in the Pentagon, so she's in the core. She's in the collective. That's very valuable. She's also super in with Leah and MJ. She's really in with Chelsea and Rabina. She's got everything going for her. Some people have recognized how good of a position she's in, Quinn most notably. I don't care that much. Like, it's not like Quinn's going to be calling the shots, and Quinn has enough people he has to target before Brooklyn. Joseph hates her. Again, like, if you can pick and choose the people to be anti-you, I think Joseph and Quinn are probably some of the better options right now. And Quinn's got too many people to deal with before her, and Joseph targeting Brooklyn would be pretty wild. She's on track to be the first married mother to win, yeah. Kenny hates her. We already talked about that. I think Brooklyn's in a great position. She's in a position to play the middle. I don't think she needs to win an HOH very soon, but if she does, that won't even be that bad of a thing. Yeah, Tucker wants to work with her. I just have a lot of faith in Brooklyn to not blow up her own game. She's not passive, but she's not too frenetic and all over the place to screw up her own position. I think she's almost locked into like pretty deep jury, like middle jury. And then from there, we have to see a bit of a strategic dog in her, that she's able to like really be a little cutthroat and play actively and better her position and lie. And like, we haven't seen much of that yet, but what we have seen, indicates to me that she does have that dog in her, at least to some degree. The last thing that worries me about Brooklyn, and it worries me about Chelsea and T-Core, their compability. Chelsea obviously won an HOH, which is good. But, like, you're going to be competing in this endgame against Cedric, and maybe Quinn finds his way there. Maybe Cam finds his way there, and you just don't want to be out-comped. I don't think Joseph's going to beat him. You don't want to be out-comped, and I'm not sure about their ability. I feel like Brooklyn would be okay, and Chelsea would be okay, and T-Core would be okay, but I don't think any of them have the ability to comp out as a way, which is not that dangerous because there's not that many players who can comp out, but it could really empower someone like Cedric to just run the table. We'll see. So the entirety of the list, we've got, starting with the chopping block, Kenny is last at 14, Angela at 13, Tucker at 12, Leah at 11, and Mackenzie at 10. All of these people I think are in imminent danger, and I really doubt their game ability. Everyone on the new player rankings I think has more redeeming parts of their game, Cam and Quinn. I don't love them as players, frankly, but they've got some stuff going for them. For Cam, it's his positioning in the house I think is actually pretty solid now. Quinn has the next HOH, and I trust his strategic ability to a certain extent. Then you got Rabina and Joseph, who I think are both playing quite passively. I would say Rabina, Joseph, and Chemo. All playing quite passively. Rabina's kind of fallen down the wrong path. Joseph just doesn't have the long-term connections he needs, but he has a lot of security. Chemo has just slowly worsened his position throughout the week, but he's worsening it from a pretty decent spot. So he's not in free fall or anything. And then we have the top. I think these four are clearly the top four. Cedric has a lot of enemies. Short-term danger is a problem for Cedric, but he made the best of a pretty bad week. He still has a ton of connections. I trust his strategic ability to a certain extent, and he showed a very strong comp ability. Then we have T-Core. Good player. A little bit too passive, has kind of let things pass her by this week, but that's not terrible because there's a lot of drama, a lot of chaos, and she's kind of stayed out of it while everyone else has been faltering around her. Chelsea and Brooklyn kind of playing the entire house. I just think Chelsea's more likely to fuck up her own position than Brooklyn. So that's the list. That's the power rankings as week 1. This is for week 3. I would like to thank you all for joining. Who do you guys think I was most off about? What ranking do you think was most, furthest away from what you guys would have? Micah says Chemo. I just think the problem with Chemo is, there's not enough players you can say are better than him. He's not doing well. Who would you guys have above Chemo? Would it be just Joseph and Rabina? You really have Rabina higher than Chemo? I'm not super high on Chemo right now, but, he should be low. You guys think Joseph, should be above Chemo? Okay, I mean, that's, again, I think mostly Chemo's positioning is a result of there's too many people below him. Rabina over Chemo, I disagree with that one pretty strongly. If you want to argue Joseph, I'll listen to it, but I still think that's wrong. I don't think Rabina's in the bottom tier. I don't believe that. Angela could sneak further. I think Angela is very likely to sneak pretty far into the game, but win equity is just such a problem. I think it's 0. I know people say she could beat Kenny. Let's be fucking real. If you're a 0 out of 10 in win equity, that crushes your game. Yeah, if Tucker gets eliminated, that could help Rabina, but it's also a really valuable connection for Rabina. So if I'm Rabina, I still would want Tucker to stay, but I would just try to be a little bit more tactful in how I approach it. Joseph arguably in the best position with the collective being solid and knowing about the Pentagon. I love Joseph having that knowledge. I was really good at Big Brother when I was able to operate with full knowledge, and I hope Joseph can be too. But ultimately, you'd rather still be in the Pentagon. And Joseph has no relationship with the women in the house. He has no relationship with the women in the house, and Chemo is much more effective at building those bridges. Brooklyn being labeled the head of the Girls Alliance. The people take the Girls Alliance seriously. Like, that feels like a Kenny thing. I don't know. I don't know. That's just Kenny's mind. Maybe Tucker, too. I'm not too worried about that. Any last things before I get off stream? I'll be back late tonight. Late tonight. I'll be here tonight with actually, I might be on before or after. I'll either be live at like 6 Central or like 10 Central, one of the two. I'll either be before or after my Reality Kingdom podcast. How was Deadpool? I didn't like it that much. It was okay. Too long. And yes, I will be doing a live feed update Wednesday morning with the one and only Taryn Armstrong. Of course. Did you share who you're voting for? Yes, Sonny, I'm voting for Cam. When the people are asking who I'd promote, Cam has my vote. Thanks, Night Cheese. Oh, if you mean for the president, I'm voting for Kamala Harris. And Walls. Any Patreon podcast coming out? Yes, the Patreon podcast will be coming out today. Excited about that. We got some other stuff with the Patreon cooking, so. Karen's update today was almost 2 hours. Today doesn't seem as crazy as yesterday. What's Cedric yapping about? This ain't that important. So, that'll do it. Thank you all for watching, and I will be back later. Bye-bye.